L3 Illumination is a new company that's formed by Jason of SB Flashlights, and this is the first of their products I'll be reviewing. This is the K40. Now, it features a XML U2 that's underneath that double-sided AR-coated lens, perfectly centered. And if you're looking at this light right now, some of you may be thinking, hey, wait a minute, that looks strangely familiar. And yes, it does bear a uncanny resemblance to Through Night's TN31. However, it is not a straight up clone. It's actually a little bit more compact in overall dimensions, and where it does gain in length savings is due to the reflector. Now the K40 does feature a slightly shallower reflector. I think I've measured it at about roughly 50 millimeters. And whereas the Through Night TN31's reflector is about 64 millimeters, so it's roughly about a half an inch of difference. So as you can see, overall dimensions is just a tad smaller. Alright, now while the overall diameter is roughly the same, I think around 69 millimeters, the throw that it's capable of achieving, even despite the half an inch disadvantage, is 77K lux measured at 1 meter on my X-Tech HD 450 light meter, whereas with the TN31 I've measured at 87 lux or so. So 10K lux roughly, but again, most of my measurements have tend to be a little bit more conservative versus reviewers like Self-Build and perhaps other reviewers as well. So now digging into the light, well actually sorry, before I get into the light, it did arrive in this pretty neat aluminum packaging here. Does come with a holster, as well as some spare accessories. It's got a lanyard, 2 spare O-rings, and a spare black tail cap cover. This box does also feature cutout for 3 batteries, which you can purchase separately. But the base light itself, if I'm not mistaken, I think Jason had mentioned that he was, kind of debating between providing this box or just a standard plain box. But for those of you who are into it, it is fairly nice. It's got a latch cover on it, and it does have 4 rubber feet on the bottom. So for those who are into collecting, perhaps this is a route that you would care to take. Now onto the light itself. The overall features is the same as the TN31 in the sense that it's got 6 output levels, a standby mode, and a variable rate strobe. Now there is a master forward clicky switch at the end. So with this switch off, it doesn't matter what you do with the ring, nothing's going to happen. However, with it turned on, let me actually put it into standby mode first, and grab a piece of white paper here and something for the camera to focus on. So again, with the, actually let me start off at the lowest level. So again, with the master switch on, the ring will then be effective when you turn it on. That's level 1, which is approximately half a lume. Level 2, sorry, let me try to get my hand out of the way here. Level 3, 4, 5, 6, and then standby, as well as a variable rate strobe. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like perhaps a machine gun rat-tat-tat-tat, steady rat-tat-tat-tat. Alright, now some of you may be questioning like, well, you have a forward clicky switch at the end, why in the world would you need a standby mode? And the reason for that is because in case you're using it one-handed, it does allow you to not have to reach back over and turn the light on and off. You could actually switch it off and put it into standby mode when desired, and then turn the light and control it via one hand. Now you will hear that the detents are very nice and solid. However, I'm sure those with keen ears are also picking up the fact that there's some either aluminum on aluminum or anodization on anodization rubbing there. This particular control ring actually was in grease, although the rest of the light was grease. Okay, that covers the UI portion. Now, again, there's a double-sided AR-coated lens. This lens is pretty chunky. I believe I measured that at 3.6 millimeters. This top bezel doesn't feature that stainless steel bezel that the Through Night TN31 has, but the entire portion, I believe up to this point, right ahead of the heatsink fins, is removable. So you can remove the lens, the reflector, and get access to the LED. Now, while the heatsink fins are here, the highest points of temperature I measure are actually more around here, right after the ring. And the reason is, again, if you look at that LED is situated deep, so it's really more situated around this point. And there is, if I'm not mistaken, copper heatsink underneath it. So if you figure out the path probably of the heat travels down this way, it would take a little while to get back up here. So again, the highest temperature I measured at was right around this point. Now, oops. Unscrewing the tube itself. This does run off of 3 18650 batteries in a carrier. One thing I do notice is that this is no longer as tight as it used to be on the TN31 or TN30. I guess there is just a slight bit more clearance, and I've tested this out with the XTR 18700 batteries with no serious troubles fitting into it. Now, working voltage is between 4 to 13 volts, so while this can possibly fit 6 CR123s, it was not designed for it, so it is not compatible with primary batteries. So something for those who do use them to take into consideration when considering this light. Okay. So that pretty much covers this review. It's fairly straightforward. I will be working on the written review, and that should be posted in the coming days. And thanks again for watching. And as part of FTC disclosures, the L3 Illumination K40 was provided by SB Flashlights for review. Cheers.